All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to what is going to be the final episode of Play by Play off air and online in studio. Because we're going to do one more next week, but it's going to be on location and we're going to have a bit of fun in our last episode. So, what I thought we'll do is we'll call this one the final episode in studio and we'll have a little bit of fun. Rather appropriately, of course, the man that started off air online with me is the man sitting in the seat alongside me. Only the two of us going to hold it down for you this evening. Adrian Endley, good evening, big guy.
Good evening, Morgan. How you doing, bro?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Yeah, rather, like I said, rather appropriately, there's just the two of us holding hands. We started this together. We're going to kind of finish the first season. We're going to come back next year. So this is not a farewell or a goodbye. It's just we'll be back next season. Hopefully bigger and better and more exciting and maybe with one or two additions. Well, what do you reckon?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, to think that this has been our first season, it's kind of flown by, firstly. Like, I don't even know how many episodes we've done, actually. I think I've lost count after like 10. But it can only get better from here, which is the exciting part, really.
Yeah, 100%. I suppose it's rather appropriate. Then I also got to thank Adrian for like his contributions over the last, whatever it is. We don't even know how many episodes, but the man has got sporting knowledge second to none. There's nobody better. If you want to get anything in the world of sport, whether it be soccer, rugby, cricket. I mean, he's also emceeing a chess event, so we'll find out about how that goes on Saturday morning when we chat to him on Play-by-Play online, of course, on air. But nonetheless, just been a crazy year, really cool year. To fire the show off, I thought, I'm not going to talk specifically sport, specifically soccer, rugby, cricket, whatever it is, because if Tara was here, then I would touch a little bit on Liverpool's lucky victory last night. Well, last night for me, but 2 nights ago, obviously, when it comes out on a Thursday evening. But we won't touch on Liverpool too much. Mohamed Salah, is he going to stay? Is he going to go? That's a debate for another day, if I'm brutally honest. But that being said, quickly, I've thrown this at Adrian and he hasn't prepared. Normally he is the consummate professional, prepares every little bit of information that he needs to prepare for the show. But this one is going to be a throw it out there and see what comes out.
Okay.
Your favorite sporting moment of the year?
Sure.
Let's start there.
Man, oh man.
It's difficult, right?
Yeah.
I've been thinking about this for the last couple of weeks of how we're going to finish our final episode in studio. And what's your favorite sporting moment of the year?
Well, so I'm going to go with the first one that just came to my head when you asked, and that was to see Bafana qualify for the World Cup.
Really?
Yeah, I think given the context, given the fact that technically we haven't qualified for a World Cup in a very long time. I know we did obviously appear in the 2010 one as hosts, but this is the first time that we got to qualify, and I think just the way we went about it, obviously we were very dominant in our group as well, a group that had the big stars of the Super Eagles, Nigeria in it as well. I think no one expected us to be the ones to get out of that group. We were very hard done, and it looked very shaky towards the end there with that 3-point deduction, and it sort of had to go down to the wire, which I feel like we love to do. We love taking it right down to the wire.
Yeah.
But even though like all the pressure was on, we still managed to deliver. Hugo Bruce and his Chargers managed to deliver, and we're going to the World Cup. In fact, we're going to be opening the World Cup for that opening fixture against Mexico at the Azteca. So that's definitely up there for me in terms of my like sort of biggest moments.
It doesn't get much better than that, right? Like 2010 played Mexico. I think it was in
At Soccer City.
Soccer City.
Yeah.
Now, what is it?
2026.
16 years later.
Yeah.
Playing Mexico in their home city.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like it's all scripted.
100%. Yeah.
And we spoke about this on air last Saturday. And obviously, folks, 8 to 9 every Saturday morning, you can catch us on air where we talk live sport and what's been happening. And we spoke about what would be a good result for Bafana at this World Cup. I think you mentioned at the time, you said getting out of the group stages.
Yeah.
But it really does look like if you look at the team we have and the group that we're in, we can get out of there.
100%. 100%. I think for the first time looking at this group, I'm quietly optimistic. We have played Mexico before. Our record against them isn't terrible. Looking at the other teams as well, South Korea, we have South Korea in there as well. They could probably be the strongest opponent. We still have to wait for that last team, whether it could be Ireland as well. But I'm confident. I am confident, quietly confident right now, that we could actually get out of that group. And that would be a big achievement for us. But then everything after that will be a bonus, honestly. Like, depending on how far we get, how far we progress, What's also good to know is like with all FIFA tournaments, the higher we get, the more money our
Yes, of course. Safa will get.
Safa will get. Which
let's hope.
which
it can
hopefully
be. I know exactly where you're going with this.
Which hopefully
Let's
they'll
hope
put
our
to good
finances-
use.
Yes, let's hope our finances get put to good use.
yeah.
You know what the one thing is that worries me about, not that we qualified. I mean, I'm glad we qualified. But what worries me about our football at the moment is that, do you not think that the qualification for the World Cup, we kind of know one's talking about AFCON. And AFCON starts now. I mean, it starts in a week or two.
Yeah.
Like our first fixture, I'm just looking at it as we speak, Angola on the 22nd of December at 7 o'clock in the evening. And then we go on to play Egypt on the 26th, just on Boxing Day at 5 o'clock. Like no one's, and then obviously Zimbabwe is who else is in our group, and that's on the 29th. But like no one's talking about AFCON. And we should go there and do really well.
No, we should. I think that's why I'm sort of like quietly optimistic, because I kind of want to see how we perform in AFCON. Obviously a tournament where last time we came, we were so close, got to the semi-finals, lost against Nigeria. So hopefully the improvement would be at this stage, we have to get into the final. Like they can't accept anything less given the sort of trajectory that we've been on. That's going to be the big test. Can we do it in a knockout situation where we're playing against teams here in Africa? And we've seen last time, look, African teams can do well in the World Cup. Morocco, they came into the semi-finals last time. The highest a team has ever finished in a World Cup. So, and they were the champions of AFCON, obviously, going into that. So clearly, if you have that momentum behind you, you can build something good on the international stage. So that's honestly going to be where it all depends, I think.
Yeah. Crazy times. Well, Bafana. And taking on AFCON, of course, and then the World Cup. Adrian's favorite sporting moment of the year was Bafana qualifying for the Soccer World Cup in
I do also think if I had to give like my personal favorite as well. So okay, that was definitely my favorite.
I was about to say, I'm surprised you haven't gone rugby, because I know you're a massive rugby man.
So I was going to say, I think that was definitely my favorite, but also another big favorite was getting to watch the Springboks live. Obviously, that's always a big one.
Where did you watch it?
They played here when they played at the DHL Stadium against Australia, and also picking up that win against them was good. So it was great to see them play live, obviously, but also win live. And I don't think you'll ever experience a more united South Africa than when the Springboks are playing, especially when you're in a packed DHL Stadium. Everyone is there cheering for them, and they also happen to just put on a really good display that day as well. I think
there is something about what the Springbok team has done to the country that, like, and I think there was a podcast that I think Brian Banner was on, and I saw it being marketed on his social media, whatever it was, and he said something that sits with me quite hectically. He said, you know, when we beat England in 2019, I think it was the 2019 World Cup. I think he was part of that team, right? Am I right?
No, he had retired already at that stage.
He
beat them in 2007.
Sorry, 2019. In 2007, when they won that World Cup against England.
Yes.
He went on to say that if England had won that World Cup, then it would have been, they would have done their parade, whatever it is, through the streets of, call it London and all that kind of thing. Yeah. And then a week later, it would be over and everyone would move on with their lives.
Yes.
2007, they win the World Cup and it changes people's lives in South Africa.
Yeah.
Then we go to when Sia won it for the first time in
2019.
And he says, what that does for this country, how it galvanizes this country. Kids in the streets playing along the side of the highway now, rugby, have a sense of reality, that this could be their reality.
Exactly.
There's a hope that this brings. So the Springbok team have been, and again, this year, I think we only lost 2 test matches the whole year.
Yeah.
Wild to think that how good we are and how long we're staying good. Rassi's now signed another contract. Let's talk some rugby very quickly.
Yes.
Rassi's now signed a contract extension till 2031. I already asked you this also actually on air on Saturday. I asked Adrian, but does this mean that Rassi, as the director of rugby and the coach, does it mean he signed his own, like, did he approach himself to get a contract? Or?
You know, like when it's like when Ryan Giggs was interim manager of Man United and he subbed himself on during the match, it feels like one of those.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Look, I don't think it's, I'm not against the idea of it. I think Rassi's the right guy, and he's definitely building a legacy that is going to be there for long beyond where he is. But 2031, you think it's the right, or do you think will be time for change?
Do you know what I'm scared of? And it's going to happen at some point, and I think we need to be prepared for when it does happen, is ultimately, unfortunately, we've seen it with, I thought the All Blacks
Don't tell me you're going to talk about this Ferguson when he leaves. And
No. I just have a concern that even with Rassi still at the helm, World Rugby is gonna, the rest of the rugby teams in the world are gonna start to figure us out, and I think that's why he's constantly trying to reinvent. And I have seen that. I mean, initially, he was obviously brought in this expansive game as well, but at some point, it has to come to an end. To think, did you ever think that we would be beating an All Blacks team in a World Cup final? They were vulnerable then. They at one stage seemed impenetrable, and now obviously they aren't as good. They always still a threat, but not as good as they were in that 2011, 2015 time when I was watching rugby as a schoolboy, thinking, who can beat this team?
So
I'm
I hear
scared
what you're
that
saying,
one day
right?
we're going to get to that point one day and we're not going to be ready for it as a country.
But I hear what you're saying, right? But do you not think that we're currently leading the way? I can't believe I'm speaking like this because I always thought I was the first one at the beginning. I mean, we did this podcast, call it 5 months ago.
Yes.
I was the first one to say, fresh,
Yeah,
we
bring
need
in some
fresh,
change,
we need
yes.
some changes,
Yes.
we need fresh ideas, we need all these things, right? Now I'm sticking my neck out and saying, do you not think that we're leading the way in terms of the evolution of rugby?
100%, yeah.
And so can we not continue to just lead the way? Or do you think
so.
that does catch up with you at some
I
point?
think at some point it is going to catch up with us. I think I'm just scared with if we keep the exact same people in for too long, could something change? But again, we have seen this with players like Ferguson. I mean, with managers like Ferguson. He had a system that he kept for a while. He was very successful for his entire tenure. Obviously not at the beginning at when he started at Man United, but once he had that system going, teams couldn't figure it out. So maybe it could be similar for Rassie and his team. I have seen enough, sort of adapting and change to be hopeful, but there's a small part of me that's nervous when we keep something the same for too long, that eventually teams could figure us out, could start to realize what we're doing and sort of figure out our game plan before we even go on. Hopefully it won't happen.
As a
Hopefully it won't.
knowledgeable sports nut that you are, let's just, quickly I unpack that right there, right? Before we move on. But
Yes.
what is the blueprint of the Springboks? Before I was the first one to say, you match this box up front.
Yeah.
You compete with them at up and unders and on high balls, and you're in the game.
Yeah.
Now, there is a part of me that goes, they're no longer just a forward dominant side. I think our backs are to a large degree have been our strength almost of late. Yes, we set a good platform up front, but there's teams that can match us for scrum, line out for line out. Set piece, you can match us. But do they have the X factor across the box? So there's no real blueprint that you can go out and go, match the box here, and you should be in or you should have a chance.
Yeah, no, that's true. That is very true. I think obviously, especially after that 2019 World Cup win, the big emphasis was just on, we're going to go out there and mess them up. We're going to be super dominant, super physical. As long as we can outbeat them in scrums and all that, we'll win. But obviously now with Tony Brown coming in, we've been seeing a lot more expansive play. They could look at something like sort of dampening our fly halves. I feel like we've been very reliant on fly halves and scrum halves to sort of get the attacking going. They could look at something like that. They could look at sort of isolating our wingers. I think sometimes it almost seems like when we play matches, our wingers can be very involved or our fly halves can be very involved. It's sort of one or the other. So teams could look at that, sort of nullifying those problem areas. But honestly, I think given what Rassie's doing, I think maybe he's really thinking about this. He's brought in so many players that can fill in anywhere and they can chop and change, which is good. I think that's going to be our saving grace. Is ultimately, if a plan's not working, at halftime, Rassie can say, cool, we've tried this way. We can keep the same players and actually just play a very different game right now, which I think is dangerous. And I'm hoping that will be our saving grace, but you never know.
And I do think Rassie is wise enough, almost, I want to say, to keep himself there, understand that he doesn't necessarily know it all, and bring in the right people so that the box continue to evolve, like the likes of Tony Brown,
Yes.
etc., etc.
Like having Dwayne Vermeulen in as well, like
Dwayne
someone who's
Vermeulen.
coming straight from the team into the coaching.
Correct. Maybe he's the buffer between players and coaches that maybe these teams need, going forward now. There's a lot of senior players in there, the guys with kids and families and wives, Sometimes they need that buffer between themselves and the coach. Otherwise, it becomes relentless, just you and the coach all the time. So, long way the box, results continue. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah.
We've touched on football.
Yeah.
We've touched on Bafana. We've touched on rugby. We've got to touch on a little bit of cricket as well.
Okay. I also want to know at some point what your highlight
The more we talk, Adrian, the more we talk and the more I'm wanting to give you an answer. And my plan was to actually tell you what my moment was.
Yeah.
But I don't actually know if I have like a specific standout moment. I think I was really moved by Siya Kolisi getting his 100th cap. I think there's something about that guy that that really resonates with me, and you know what he's done for the country, and you know, I mean, yes, without getting soppy, but you know, he's back to the wall. I mean, I knew him. I wouldn't say personally, but I knew him pretty well many years ago. He was coming through the ranks. I was sort of just retiring or just finishing with rugby, and we spent 1 or 2 days together. And you know, his back really was to the wall. I mean, like the Oak was at Western Province. Yes, he was a great under 19, under 21 player, but like there was at one point when me and him were sitting having a chat about, you know, where does he go to from here? You know, he's not really Rusty was director of rugby at the time at Western Province. He wasn't really the flavor of the month. Wasn't really coming through, but he just kept grinding, and look at what he's done for himself. So to see him get 100 caps for the box, I think very much deserved for the grind that he put in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And having done it over a number of different coaches.
Yeah.
So I think that probably is a standout moment for me. I think Bafana doing well again is a moment that I think will resonate with me. But I first want to see our performance. I don't want us to qualify for the World Cup and go there and just be also runs. Then I feel like, what was the point?
What was the point?
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. No.
So Hugo Bruce, his impact has been great. Temba Bavuma, I think the Test Championship, there's something about that.
We definitely need to talk about that.
Yeah,
I think,
and that's where I was going to go to next. You know, that again, another guy that like, I feel for these guys, you know, I was never obviously as famous and as good as half of these Oaks are, but I do know a little bit about what the media and how the voices from outside can have on your performance, can have on just your mental, your own psyche.
Yeah.
You know, like playing badly for the Stormers once or twice, as I did many times. And you're waking up on a Sunday morning and there's a newspaper and you're reading an article about your rating and Morgan Newman's player rating is 4 out of 10 or whatever. You remember those things?
Yeah.
Like your rating's 4 out of 10 and you're going, jeepers, I thought I wasn't that bad. You know?
Yeah.
So those things can really like affect your mental state. And none more so than Temba Bavuma.
Yeah.
Like the Oak took flack for years. Most successful Test captain now. Wins the Test championships for South Africa. I mean, plays fantastically well himself, not just the captaining of the team. And again, there I go, there's a moment there, that Test championship, watching them at Lord's, that does stand out for me. You know, Test cricket for me, I know, I mean, there's lots of different trains of thought. There's T20s, there's all these different formats now, but Test cricket for me is still the essence of cricket.
100%.
And to see South Africa do so well really does, to me, go, this is, you know, under his guidance, this is a proper team.
Yeah, and I think especially given the context of, as a nation in cricket, we haven't done well when it's come to that, like a knockout match. We just technically was. In the past, the team would get the mace for just being the best Test team of the year. But obviously this time with the restructuring, they had a final setting. And when it comes to finals, obviously the Proteas do not have a great history. We use that word chokers a lot. And so it almost felt like they had a lot to prove. Even, obviously it's nice to win this test, get this mace. But at the end of the day, it was just to prove every single naysayer wrong. And the way they did it, to play Australia at Lord's, who I would say Australia had a lot of a harder sort of path to get to the final, but still to rise and still to win in a test format like that has to be one of the Proteas' biggest moments in a while. Definitely.
Yeah. And then, of course, I mean, without looking too far back, SA20 starts now in the next couple of weeks. That's going to be super exciting. There's going to be
I've been so encouraged to see just how well that's been received by everyone. Like, I know it's taken a while to get like a proper. I mean, obviously we have a lot of domestic leagues.
Yeah.
We've tried before to have a similar IPL type thing with the Mzansi Super League as well, which didn't really take off that well. This Betway SA20 is in its fourth year now, I think, third or fourth year. And it's just been amazing. If you go watch a match at Newlands when My Cape Town's playing, just the support there, the stadium's always almost sold out. People are just so keen to get behind this, and there's so much interest internationally as well. So just so glad that it's working, and so glad there's so much interest, from outside players as we're coming into this country.
Graham Smith, take a bow, because I think he's been the brainchild behind this. Behind the SA20, and it really is. I mean, and the timing of it is so good. Like, everyone, it's festive in Cape Town, it's festive in South Africa, and you know the stadiums are going to be full. It's going to be a real vibe. So,
you know, as we're talking here, I'm just kind of thinking, like, because obviously our three main sporting codes being rugby, cricket, soccer, it seems like South Africa has done really well this year. It seems like we have a lot to sort of look back and be proud of in all three of those codes. nationally.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. If you rugby, super successful, without a doubt. You know, and I don't want to say it because I don't think it's necessarily the case. I think football demographically is better supported, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
But it's a flagship. The three flagship sporting codes have done really well.
Yeah.
Rugby speaks for itself. Football really, really well. Cricket has come to the fore and done really well. So I mean, you know, those three sports, and it's amazing how, you know, what did Nelson Mandela say? Sport has the power to change the world.
100%.
And it really has changed the lives of South Africans.
And I think also a big thing to talk about that's happened this year as well is just the shift we've seen as well in the sort of importance that's been given to women's sport as well, and especially our
100%.
women's teams as well.
100%.
I mean, we got to the final of the Cricket World Cup. Obviously, very upset that we didn't win that one, but Laura Wolfhard, I mean, getting player of the tournament as well.
You know,
like,
quickly
things like that.
I just quickly want to, like, when you talk about this women's sport, you know, like, again, the three sporting codes.
Yeah.
I mean, look, even Banyana, they've always flown the flag for us.
Banyana
But if you
are
look
current
at
AFCON champions.
Correct.
You know? Yeah.
Our women cricketers, you've spoken about it, Laura Wolfhard, etc., doing so well at the latest World Cup, leading the way.
Yeah.
Our ladies rugby team,
Yeah.
unbelievable,
Did
setting
fantastic.
the tone, did fantastically well at the Rugby World Cup. And then, of course, Banyana, who's a team that we've become synonymous with. We know, you know, we know they're a team that we expect them to do well.
Yeah.
So, can it get better than this from a sporting point of view in South Africa? Like, how do you top this in 2026?
Look, well, if we wanna be honest with ourselves, there's only one thing that could make this as big as ever. That's winning a World Cup, winning a FIFA World Cup. Which I don't. Like, I'm not that. I know that I'm a Man United fan, but I'm not that delusional. I won't sit here and say that Bafana Bafana are gonna go and win a World Cup.
Yeah.
But if you had to ask me, I think that would be the absolute peak. But I think it's good to sort of look back at this and actually just say like well done to our teams. And I think especially in all of our codes,
you know, we're so sorry to interrupt you, but we're always so critical.
No, 100%.
You know, Bafana don't do well. Maybe the first ones to go, but you know, this changed and that changed, and what do we know? But you know, our ladies don't do well, and it's, but this is not enough investment. Now we're going. We can celebrate all of them. Yeah, male, female, rugby, soccer, cricket, you name it. They're all doing fantastically well.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's good to talk about it, good to acknowledge that, because you're 100% right. We love to quickly talk about all the negatives, but genuinely, I think we can look back at this year, 2025, for South African sports and just be very, very proud. There's so much to be proud of.
Before I let you go, we're running out of time here. Can we top it in 2026?
I think personally, like, from a pride sense, we're going to have a lot of rugby to play. I know we also have this new tournament coming up with New Zealand.
Yes, that could be quite cool.
I think we'd be very happy.
The greatest rivalry.
Exactly. If we could win most of our matches against New Zealand, I think that would be a good thing for us personally. I think there's the Cricket World Cup next year as well. If I'm not mistaken, the men's T20.
Yeah.
The ODI World Cup next year. Again, we've been knocking on the door so far. That could be something, and maybe now that we have the sort of voodoo off our back of losing in finals, that could be something that could change. And I'm very excited to see how Bafana Bafana do. Firstly in AFCON, obviously the final will be in the new year, and then also taking that momentum into the FIFA World Cup, getting out of the group, getting a good finish on the international stage. It could go from a great year in 2025 to even better. Who knows?
Well, there you have it, folks. Adrian Endley, the sports nut of Good Up FM, giving you the full rundown of how we can better what has been a fantastic year in 2025. How we can better that in 2026. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, that is a wrap of our season 1 of Play by Play Off Air Online. As I mentioned, next week we will do another episode, but it's going to be on location somewhere. It'll be a little bit of a different episode, and we'll see what we can try and conjure up and put together for you in sort of a season wrap up. Hopefully Tara, hopefully Delucia Daniels will be there. We definitely want to get a Formula 1 update or a Formula 1 season wrap. We want Tara to give us a football wrap in terms of Premier League, how it's gone, etc., etc. And then myself and Adrian will also just obviously chirp in where we can. So thank you so much for joining us. You can catch us again next week, same time, same place for the final episode. But this was, in fact, in the studio from myself, Adrian Endley, and from myself, Morgan Newman. And that's Adrian Endley. Let's just get it right.
Yeah.
That's Adrian.
That's Morgan.
I'm Morgan. We'll catch you again. Peace out. Have a fantastic season. And by the way, have a fantastic festive season. Please stay safe on the roads. It is crazy. Coming into studio this afternoon this evening rather, took me more than an hour. But stay safe on the roads. Tell your loved ones you love them, and we'll see you again next year. Same time, same place. Bye, everybody.
Bye bye.